My name is KittyW25 and I recently finished playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla's main story, The Long Way Around. And since I really enjoyed my time, I decided to replay Assassin's Creed Origins in a similar fashion, and I decided to bring you along with me. We start off choosing the easy difficulty, because I really enjoy the story and I don't want to get too frustrated by the game. Spoiler, I prefer the battle system in Valhalla much better than in Origins. They really improved on all the strong positives and streamlined it all. I'm still used to playing Valhalla, so you'll probably see me press the wrong buttons accidentally a few times. And a final note before the game starts, I'm playing the PS4 version of Origins on my PS5 using the Elgato HD60S capture card. And for some reason there is a lot of crackling. I've always had this issue and I can't seem to find a reason or a fix for it. So if anybody knows anything, I'll be real indebted. The story starts at the Siwa Oasis in 49 BCE. We're in Egypt, and even though everything is pretty brown right now, it still looks incredibly pretty. The scene jarringly cuts to a tomb in the dark, as we see our player character Bayek beaten and screaming before we cut to 1 year later at the Bent Pyramid. This is our intro tutorial. We hear a man named Rujek. Rujek is a Darren who wants to complain about our work ethic. While we hit him with the nah, I quit. And to show the dedication to our quitting, we slice an arrow across our arm to show that Darren is our boss no more. We see that Darren is also known as the Heron. Darren the Heron. And he threatens us before attempting to cancel us in life. But we're too badass though, and we use Darren's mask. Oh, hang on. That's the same type of mask that we saw on the people with Ptolemy before. That must mean something, right? Anyway, there's this great moment that I'm not going to ruin with my jokes.
Sleep. I never sleep. I just wait in the shadows. And I will kill you all! Everyone who sniffed the air that day in Siwa!
And Darren won't be around anymore. We cut straight to outside and we see ourselves fighting a big boy. This big boy is Hippotos, Darren's bodyguard. And this serves as our introduction to the brand new combat mechanic in Assassin's Creed. The new combat is very familiar to those who have played Soulsborne games before, as it is the light version of that. We get to lock onto an enemy, block, light melee, heavy melee attack, and dodge. Though, as many of you may have noticed, there are no stamina bars. Thank the Egyptian gods we're not bound to mortal concepts such as stamina. As you can see, Hippotos ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, and he smacked the ground so hard that we all fall down into the tombs below, as our second phase in the fight starts.
A broken weapon won't save you! This place will serve as tomb to one of us. Let it be you. So be it. Anubis awaits you.
After dealing with Hippotos, not because I literally played this intro 20 minutes ago before deciding to make this video, we go towards this section of the wall with all the scarabs, and we slide our way out through to leave the area. We find ourselves in a massive underground area in this ancient tomb. This introduces us to the torch, parkour, and scavenging mechanics. We're going to be scavenging a lot. Shit's expensive in 1st century BC. There's nothing much to say about this parkour system. They haven't been changed much since the massive streamlining in Assassin's Creed 3, and it feels pretty good here. The main difference between Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, compared to the OG stealth-based Assassin's Creeds, is the fact that you can pretty much climb anywhere in these newer games. See a massive rock in the distance? Climb it. See a literal mountain? Climb that. After scavenging and destroying some spiderwebs because the menace creatures are absolutely everywhere, we climb a massive statue and head towards the light. Once we quickly destroy the weak wall with scarabs, we are finally outside and free, and we see a small fight is occurring in the distance. The soldiers are looking for us for some reason, and we go help the one with the blue diamond on top of them. Blue equals friend, obviously. We make short work of the enemies, and we get this nice little cutscene as a reward.
I see you have made new friends. They were setting up an ambush. It's a good thing I came to welcome you, huh? It's been months. Look at that beard, huh?
We get more context of our revenge plan, and Hepzibah leads us back to our hometown, the Siwa Oasis, as we get some backstory of how bad life is there now. While this happens, I would like to say that this is a brand new type of content that I'm trying out. It's more work than just uploading edited versions of my stream VODs, but since it's a new year, I wanted to try something different. If you enjoy this type of content, please like the video and comment to let me know if you want me to continue making these videos. But anyway, let's skip forward a bit. On our way to Siwa, we go into our inventory and we clear out a bunch of the notifications. Partly because we get annoyed by seeing that judgmental exclamation mark above gear, but also we use this chance to dismantle as many unused pieces of gear so that we can get as many crafting ingredients. We need a lot to go through upgrading everything in this game. We ask about our next target, the Ibis. Surprisingly, we get Ibis's real name straight away. How about that? Barely starting the game and we're already 2/5 of the way through our goal. Hepzibah talks about how bad Ibis is while he leads us to his place. Definitely did not just get distracted and forget that we were supposed to go to the right. We head into Hepzibah's house and soon we meet another character, Rabia.
Rest, my friend. It has been a difficult day. I have no interest in rest. I must prepare for this man.
Hepzibah! Hepzibah! Once again, the soldiers! Bayek!
Rabia! My Rabia!
I am worried about you.
You know me, eh? You should be worried.
Look at you. Cuts, contusions.
I'm fine.
Sit. 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 I'll take care of it.
Bayek has history with Rabia, and though nothing is explicitly revealed to us at this time, it's obvious that Rabia is some sort of motherly or grandmotherly figure in Bayek's life. This interaction between them is so sweet and natural. I love it. After arrest, we get the ranged attack tutorial.
Slumbering, Osiris. I thought you would never wake up. Rabia patched me up and I let you sleep. You need to be alert to tangle with Mejunamun. In fact, my friend, a new bow. See if you like it.
After destroying the dummies, we get this quick cutscene that leads to our sneaking and takedown and later assassination tutorials. But it's edited so awkwardly, it's funny every time we see it.
Hepzibah!
What is it?
Soldiers are coming for you!
Go. Come, quickly.
Why did it cut to the soldiers so quickly? It makes it feel like they should have seen Hepzibah and Bayek hiding in the tall grass. We even see ourselves in the background. Oh well. Stealth in games just being stealth in games. We make quick work of the guards. Once again, not because we played this section 20 minutes before deciding to record the video. And we get back inside to talk to old mate Hepzibah, who shows us the state of Siwa and how we could help. Hepzibah tells us that the Ibis is one bad bofo, all evil and shit. And we get this scene of all Ibis totally using an ancient technological artifact the wrong way.
I can do. So you are telling me you do not have the powers of a god? But the real problem is that man you want to kill. Majunamon. The people were hopeful when he first arrived. Surely things would improve. We soon learn the truth, actually.
I fear for the safety of your family, priest. I will move them to a more secure area.
That is the man you're up against.
He's definitely evil though, but we don't care because we're a total badass. Old mate Hepzibah treats us with the whole just in case though, and tells us that we should get stronger gear.
You'll be killed. You need to get tougher if you want to murder that spindly shit.
Oh look, we get new kinda side, kinda main quests. Don't worry, we're going to be doing as many of these quests as possible to try and overlevel each region to make our journey as easy as possible. And lastly, we get introduced to our trusty birdie Senu. Senu is going to be our eagle vision stand-in for this game, as the Animus Pulse is kinda lacking in that department. How we can connect our brains to our birdie to see what they see is never explained within the game, I don't think. But according to a bunch of in-universe historical and present-day lore to explain Cassandra from Odyssey and Eivor from Valhalla's similar abilities, it's a mixture of these certain avatars of history having extrasensory abilities, and Layla's modded Animus being able to utilize an adjacent version of those abilities in the simulations. My personal order of the best birdies in these games are Senu, Sunan, and Ikaros. Primarily because the S names just sound better to me, I don't really know why. Back to the story though, old mate Hepzibah asks for our help with looking after the people of Siwa. And we might as well help old mate do our old job for a little bit because we care. Definitely not because we want XP points. We level up to level 2 at this point, which gives us a general damage and health increase as well as an ability point. This brings us to the skill tree, which is quite sizable and provides us with quite a variety of different ways to play the game. We have a few skills unlocked already, like calling our ride and eagle tagging, but for our first skill to unlock, we choose the dawn and dusk skill, which means that we can change the time of day by pressing on the touchpad of the controller. This will help out on specific quests that needs to be done on specific times of the day. We do some dismantling and then head towards the targets tab in the menu. This shows our 5 targets, with old mate Darren the Heron covered in a fashionable bright red color. Red equals dead in this context. By hovering over Darren's ugly mug, we get a little backstory of right before the start of the fighting tutorial. The entry talks about Anubis's apparent curse on the Natron mines. It's been quite a while since I played this, so I'm sure that will mean something at some point. Ibis's entry just shows how evil old mate Ibis really is. Something to do with a vault beneath the temple in Siwa, while the other 3 targets, the snake, the vulture, and the ram, just has the fact that they are one of the masked ones. Anyway, we accept all the quests on old mate Hepzibah's table and go off exploring Siwa. Unfortunately, we keep this gear up quest pinned on the screen for way too long, so let's just ignore it for now. We go straight to our nearest and first synchronization point. When it was revealed that the setting of Origins was going to be in Egypt, a lot of people were wondering how they were going to do the sync points. That was one of the signatures of Assassin's Creed games. But I think they did pretty well in showing us these different types of sync points. And this time, synchronizing the points did something more than just revealing sections of the map. If you go to the skills screen, you may notice in the top left corner a section named Senu's Perception. This dictates how easy it is for Senu to tag enemies and items of interest, like the treasure boxes and papyruses. The higher the perception level, the further away and the easier Senu can tag these things. It's very helpful, and it makes climbing these sync points more important as it actively helps us out when we want to clear areas. Next, we head straight to the hideaway quest, even though the recommended level is 3, while we're only level 2, because we're a badass. And it's also on easy mode. On the way there, we see that the location we're near seems to have a golden question mark on it, which means it's an important location? I'm not entirely sure. They pop up from time to time, but I'm not certain what makes some undiscovered locations golden or not. In this case, though, it seems to be a character moment for us, as it's the necropolis that houses the tomb of our dead son.
It has been too long, son.
We finally make it to the location of the side quest. Tell a kid to go home, because kids are stupid, and we enter the location. In these new Assassin's Creed games, each location has objectives that reward us with XP once completed. So that's what we'll be doing for every region of the map. That's what makes our journey a lengthy one. In this location, we have to find the ancient tablet, which is some meta storyline that connects the historical to the present, and is one of the collectibles that we can find in the game. We definitely want to find them all. After exploring the area and scavenging as much as we can, we find Chenzira, the other kid, and coincidentally, he's standing right in front of the tablet for the location objective. How lucky. We kinda ignore what Chenzira says by interacting with the tablet, but at least we get the XP we deserve. Luckily, Chenzira does redo his line, and we find out that he feels bad about what happened to our dead son, Kemu. The plot thickens.
They asked where you were, and I didn't think it would hurt anybody if I told them.
We exit the tomb and find that there are a bunch of hyenas outside. So we quickly clear them out and grab their soft leather for the gear up quest. Lucky us. And we tell Chenzira to go home and stop being stupid.
Safe now. Better get home.
Bayek, can I ask you something?
Go on.
Could I be a mecha like you one day?
Well, you can start by looking out for your brother and not taking him to dangerous places.
I promise!
Now get back home.
But hey, let's continue to clear the areas in Siwa for a while. First, we find our abandoned home. That's one of the locations with an objective. The objective here is to loot the one piece of treasure. So that's what we did. Looting the treasure here gives us a weapon and another subtle piece of storytelling. I love it so much.
Papa, you found it! Can I have it back?
Voila! Location completed. Then we synchronize another point, and seeing as we're right next to a camp, we decide to clear it. And it definitely did not go wrong at all.
Expiration date.
Let's try it again. Before heading into the camp this time, we decide to unlock the sleep darts, since we're now level 3. I'm sure they'll come to great use at some point. Luckily, the game still thought that the captain was dead, even though we respawned. So all we needed to do was loot the treasure to complete this location, which went off without a hitch. Next, we did some vandalism, before going to complete another side quest. But wait, what's this?
Naked-yaded soldiers. Ptolemy's captain saw me making a sword and accused me of being a rebel.
Kamshetje. I think I have already solved your problem, Benipe. And I didn't even know it. Here are your tools. That captain won't ever come back here.
At last, I can reopen my shop. Many thanks.
After choosing the mace as our reward, which we don't use on an enemy ever, we decide to zoom out to show the extent of the game's whole map. It is absolutely massive, but surprisingly, smaller than Odyssey and Valhalla's maps. Our journey will take a while. We make our way to the undiscovered location and see all that we need to do is find the nearby papyrus. Papyrus. We make our way to the undiscovered location and see that all we need is to find the nearby hidden papyrus. Using Senu, we get its location, and we get the papyrus lickety-split. I really don't like that saying. Now, the papyruses in this game gives us a clue to a hidden treasure somewhere in the map nearby. And surprisingly, I remembered this particular one from the last time I played the game, at least 5 years ago. So we head straight over there to complete the papyrus. You don't have to find them and complete all of them, but since they give us XP, a hefty amount of money, and a gear piece that'll be helpful when we dismantle it, why not? With that, we are now level 4, and this time around we choose to get the assassination XP, since that's going to be our go-to method of dispatching enemies. More XP is always good. After realizing we don't like the way heavy blunt weapons feel, told you we weren't going to use it, we dismantle our unneeded gear and continue towards our nearest undiscovered location, the Temple of Amun. While trying to mark all of the enemies and clearing the area, we hear a man who's been captured and seemingly tortured. After rescuing the man, he tells us of others that need rescuing, and we get another side quest.
I will find them. You hide here until it is safe to leave.
We get told that we can use Senu to find targets, which is great, and after we tag all the targets, we continue to clear the area. We can save the prisoners and complete the side quest at the same time. As we were using Senu to tag enemies around us, we see a close group of 3 enemies who seem to be walking right past where we were. And when we go back to playing as Bayek, we realize that one of the 3 is actually Old Man Ibis Medunamun himself. So we follow the group to see if we get rid of the fella. After a quick fight where we definitely didn't miss 90% of our swings, Medunamun falls, and we get one of those classic Assassin's Creed Purgatory/Limbo-esque scenes. In a spot of brilliant storytelling, it is here where the game treats us with a flashback that shows us what happened to us and our son a year ago.
You have returned.
To right your wrong.
I die my work unfinished. So close, so very close to ushering in the perpetual rule of the strong and virtuous.
Watch you!
What will give us the power of the gods? What is one boy?
What is one boy?
Papa?
So close. Hey, one more.
Okay,
Hey,
well, I can try. This way, I'll get 2.
sure.
Well,
Up, strong. Ready?
yes. Oh, you made me miss. You.
This cutscene is so natural, and one of the strongest points of this game for me is definitely the story and its portrayal of Bayek. It's just wonderful. In the flashback, we soon meet Chanziro, that stupid kid with his stupid hyena cave. But since our son Kemu is actually smart and doesn't want to die from hyenas, we take him hunting for an ibex instead. Ibex? How do you even say that?
The Oracle wants the pelt of an ibex stag for the ceremony.
After a short, easy hunt, and noticing that our son is still being a little bitch, we bring him to Halma Point and try to teach him the leap of faith.
I got scared too. Your grandfather was a well-known Magi, and he wanted me to bring honor to the family when I succeeded him.
Yeah?
One day, he took me up this way.
What did your father say?
Jump. Don't think so long. Jump.
Yes, Papa.
Trust me, you can.
I do. I will.
Jump then.
But before we can be disappointed in our son for being such a little bitch, we hear Chanziro screaming, and we shoo our son away so that he wouldn't be a hindrance to us when we need to be a badass.
Filthy little shit.
Help me! That's Shanjira!
I said shut up!
Run home to your mother. Trenzera will be fine. I will take care of it.
Magi Bayek!
Go, now.
Magi Bayek!
I'm indeed Magi here. Who summons me?
Sheath your weapon and follow me.
Who are you to give commands to me?
You piece of shit. We don't have time to piss away.
We're forced to confront these annoying Greek soldiers who unfortunately are way too strong for us. This is an encounter we can't win, so we get captured and brought to the masked one we now know is Medunamun.
make a sound and you're dead.
What took you so long?
Didn't want to be seen, sir. Kept to the shadows.
What's underneath the Temple of Amun in Siwa is actually an Isu vault, and the masked ones want to get in, like that one meme. They have the piece of Eden, like we saw before, but they don't know how to use it to open the vault and believe that we, as Medjai, would know.
See that no one comes in.
Camel, are you hurt?
Go ahead. Try it your way.
I'll leave my son out of this!
Your son has something to explain to you. Would the Ibis show him the orb?
We believe we need this to enter the vault.
This is a waste of time! The boy is frightened. It's all right.
Papo, they need you to tell them about the vault. They need to know how to use this.
As Medjai, you must have some clue of your legend that explains its use. I don't know anything about this vault! Please leave my son out of this!
He will be discovered. Quickly!
Our son, being as equally stupid as he is brave, grabs a blade from one of the masked ones while they are distracted by the Pharaoh, and gives it to us so we could cut our bindings. In the scuffle, with the blade nearly stabbing one of the masked ones, this happens.
Tell you! No, no,
The snake takes that as your answer.
This is such a harrowing scene, and shows how our son died, and why we are so gung-ho on killing the masked ones who were there that night. Why we have their names tattooed, and why we're willing to cut ourselves to cross their names out. No pain is greater than losing our son that night. We cut back to the limbo scene, and we see how traumatized and out of control we can be when our son is brought up.
We thought you were dead. You could not even save your own son. You are no one. Bayek of nothing. Father to nobody.
And here is your nobody! May the hidden one greet you. The Lord of the Duat awaits.
This line is also as good as Requiescat in Pache. Don't at me, you can't change my mind. Unbeknownst to us, by killing Mendunamun, it actually brings us back to old mate Hepzibah's house as we celebrate our victory with him. We want to make our way to Alexandria to see our estranged wife Aya, but old mate tries to convince us that Siwa will always need its Medjai. Though we play hard to get, ultimately we do stay. We need the XP. With Mendunamun dead, we finally level up to level 5, and this time we choose the parry skill. Though, looking at the footage while writing the script, I realized to parry we had to press the circle button. Because of Valhalla, I had it in my head that to parry it was just to press L1 at the right moment. No wonder I failed at parrying later on. Damn it. We now make our way back to the temple to complete the location and the side quest since that was cut short. As we make our way to another location, we collect the 2 pieces of soft leather we needed for the gear up quest and upgrade our breastplate, which gives us more health. The fact that Senu helps us with our hunting is so good. I love Senu so much. By finishing the gear up quest, we get enough XP to level up to 6, and we pick the flesh decay skill. I remember using this skill before, it's fun to use. We arrive at the location, a stone circle.
My son, you wanted the stars. The stone circles show the gods' places in the sky. Your grandfather once told me they also show our place in the world.
I'm going to find every stone circle, the Sphinx, and the pyramids too. And I'll find my place.
and we clear the location pretty easily. We cut off the voiceover lines by completing the puzzle quicker than expected. But its job in the game is to build our relationship with our son through the voice lines. Easy XP though. We go to the furthest undiscovered location on the map from us. We rode past it with Hepzibah before, but couldn't do anything about it. It's a vulture nest, and to complete the location, all we have to do is kill the alpha vulture, the one with the gold crown on top of it when we tag it with Senu. Easy XP again. We make our way to the next side quest. This time it's Rabia, and she tells us of how the Greek soldiers have been bad boys, how they've been preventing the Siwa citizens from getting medicine. We decide to help her out, and first we need to collect the medicine jars in the lake. Luckily, the medicine jars is right near a map location with an objective of looting all the treasure. So we collect the jars before going back underwater to loot the treasures. It was a simple objective, but we get lost underwater and end up very nearly dying. Luckily, we just regenerate the health we lost on our way towards our next quest point. When we reach the ruined temple, we see Rabia and Patience outside the temple and are told that the corrupt soldiers have kicked them out. So now we're tasked to clear out the soldiers from the area. We do that by using Senu to mark the enemies, and then we use our bow and arrows from a distance to make quick work of them. When we're done, we give Rabia the medicine jars and are gifted with enough XP to level up to level 7. After some dismantling, we gain enough crafting materials to level up our bracer, which gives us more melee damage. This is why we want to upgrade everything. Next, we mark an undiscovered location and select a nearby side quest, only to accidentally run into enemies in the Temple of Amun again. We decide to just run away instead of fighting off every enemy, and we jump off a cliff, misjudging how strong our legs are, and we end up dying. This is why you shouldn't skip leg day. Luckily though, we respawn right in front of the lower entrance to the Temple of Amun, where our side quest is located, and we quickly dispatch the guards required and find the farmers we need to save. Unfortunately, one farmer is dead, and we decide to reunite him with his family so that they can properly bury the body. Since we dealt with all the guards in the area, we can just run out of there with the body. When we arrive at the farmer's house, we see that it had been destroyed. In fact, the farmer's whole family had died, thanks to the terrifying reign of the late old mate, Medunamun, and the Greek soldiers under him. We reunite the farmer with the rest of his dead family so that they can be buried together, and that side quest is complete. We then chose the water rat side quest next, and realized that there are a couple of undiscovered locations along the way, so we start making our way there.
That's it. Man is will think twice before coming back here.
We're now level 8, and we make our way to the final synchronization point in Siwa. We also hunt down some animals to get some more soft leather for crafting along the way. We need a lot of soft leather. This is where the revised new parkour system really shines, as it's really the first massive non-building object that you're able to climb. And it just showcases the new kind of freedom that players now have in these more massive Assassin's Creed games. This sync point also reveals the eastern side of Siwa and the last few undiscovered locations here. Although I must say, when we get down from sync points like this one, later games show player characters using other things like an axe to slide down the rope. Although, if you look closely at the braces, you could argue that Bayek's palms are padded and protected from the massive rope burn you would realistically get from the slide. So he gets a pass from me. There's enough plausible deniability. While clearing the locations, we gain enough soft leather to upgrade our stabilizer glove and quiver, which gives us more range damage and more arrow space respectively. And finally, we clear the ibex lair that we visited in the flashback sequence earlier. And we clear it by killing the alpha ibex. Now we've completed all of the location objectives in Siwa, so it's time to leave the area. We fast travel back to old mate Hepzibah's place, and we say our goodbyes to our close friend, and start to make our way to Alexandria.
I must leave Siwa. There are others to whom I must deliver justice. Especially the one known as the Snake.
How will you find these men?
Aya has been tracking them in Alexandria. I must find her.
She said she would be visiting her cousin at the Great Library.
Great Library?
And she said that you are coming to tell you one word. Serapis.
Serapis? The god that Greeks and Egyptians share. Of course, I see.
And Bayek, do something about that beard.
Goodbye, my friend.
At this point, the game gives us the familiar receding simulation scene that symbolizes a person leaving the Animus, and we finally meet our player character in the present-day storyline. This is Layla Hassan, an Abstergo employee who is hassled by a medical officer assigned to her, Deanna Geary. Through their short conversation, we find out that Layla has modded the Animus unit she's using, and also that she's found a subject that might be of interest to Abstergo. Although, it seems that she's doing this all unofficially to try and get them to let her into the Animus program.
They know I don't work by the book.
Well, this time you lit the book on fire and then stomped on it.
We could actually explore the area around Layla, but we'll be revisiting this place for a few sequences later on in the game. So we get what we need so that we don't get kidney failure and go right back into the Animus. Once back inside, we find ourselves in the middle of the Gnome region. I'm probably butchering the name, I'm sorry. All these names actually, I'm sorry for them if I'm saying them wrong. And while looking at the map, we notice that we passed a sync point in the area, so we head there instead. The game also takes this time to introduce us to all of the Trials of the Gods, which is a late game DLC activity, so we just ignore all of them. Along the way to the sync point, we also experience an instance of the new desert overheat mechanic, where we can develop heat stroke if we're in the desert during the day for too long, with this pretty little blue flower that appeared out of nowhere. We quickly synchronize and start to make our way back towards the quest point, experiencing more instances of desert overheat along the way. At this point, we enter the Lake Mareotis, I think that's how you say it, region? Since this region is filled with easy location objectives and relatively simple side quests, we're spending a lot of time clearing the region out. While we're riding, Bayek reminisces about his old mate Menahet, which gives us another reason to stay in this region, as one of the side quests here will also give us a nice character moment with Bayek. But first, we're ignoring that particular side quest in favor of clearing the map. So we meet up with a woman named Ebio who asks for our help to find her husband, who's gone missing. She kinda seems very interested in getting our help, telling us her tragic story even before we accept it. We notice that there are a few points of interest near the quest location, so we set off across the lake. This lake, though beautiful, is home to quite a few crocs. Not the shoes, the less dangerous ones. They do hurt if they take a bite out of us, so we try to make sure to keep our distance and shoot them with arrows as much as possible. They drop hard leather, and that's required for crafting later on, so it's good to start collecting them now. We mark the missing husband, but we decide to work on the location objectives first. On our way to the husband, Claudius, we notice a bloody scene that looks like a ritual nearby, and we interact with it. This gives us another side quest that requires us to find multiple sites all over the map that leads us to a confrontation with a ritualistic serial killer. The suggested level for this side quest is 17, so we'll finish investigating this site and tuck the side quest away for later. Once we speak to Claudius, who is off his tits drunk, we're told to escort him back to his wife. But before we do that, we decide to loot the final treasure to complete the location objectives. To do this, we have to break a weak section of floor. But since this isn't Valhalla, and we don't have the ranged incendiary powder trap ability, we instead use an ability point to unlock the air attack, which is destructive enough to let us through. We get that ability point back since clearing the location gives us level 9. On our way back to Claudius, we see that he's a stupid drunk as he's decided to swim through croc-infested waters. So to keep him safe, we clear the waters and get him to come on our nice little boat so we can get him across the lake safely. On the way, Claudius tells us that he's a virgin, which is odd since a lot of these older civilizations love consummating marriages. Turns out Ebio was in fact a con artist who scams tourists by marrying them and then forcing them to pay a virginity tax. She's got two big boys who threaten Claudius, and since we're such bros with him, we defend him and the woman runs away in fear, completing the quest.
Praise and thanks. You saved my life. And my purse.
In future, be careful when drinking with strangers.
Next, we clear a croc's nest, and we collect everything of value. At this point, we were running low on arrows, so it was kind of scary in the middle there. Next, as we swim across the lake to a tagged undiscovered location, we upgrade our right bracer for more melee damage. And for some reason, this villager kept following us with his boat. Possibly to give us a free ride since we're the Magi and all, but we're stubborn bastards, so we just keep swimming anyway. Once we reach the location, which turns out to be an enemy camp, we realize that the enemies are way too strong for us. Notice the angry skulls above them, and we realize that the camp was actually in the Sapirezno region. And since we don't like that place, at least not yet, we just leg it out of there. After commandeering a random guard's boat and hiding the evidence of any crime that may or may not have happened there, we travel back to the island in the middle of the lake where Claudius was stuck because we totally meant to miss the sync point that was right there. Stupid, what a waste of time. We spend the next little while clearing several locations for the XP, doing some dismantling, and purchasing the Berserk ability after saving up 2 ability points. Although we don't using the Berserk once in this video. On our way to another sync point and a location objective, we come across a predator attack, which are random events where aggressive animals attack NPCs. We save the innocent people and bag a little bit of free XP as well as some hard leather. One of the location objectives in Lake Mareotis was to find a hidden papyrus puzzle, so we definitely didn't end up looking at a walkthrough to get the solution to the riddle. Definitely not. Before we head to the solution location though, we meet Reda, or Reda, I don't know, the little shit who seems to be immortal since he's still alive and still childlike in Valhalla, which is set around 700 to 800 years in the future. Reda serves as the NPC players talk to for random daily quests when you're connected to the internet. He also gives us the Lost and Found side quest, which is the intro for the daily quest mechanic in these new games. We head towards this old man who's had his book, the Book of the Dead, which holds religious value stolen by the bandits. We accept the new quest before finally going to the papyrus solution location that we definitely didn't look up the answer for. Well, yeah, we did end up looking it up, and the walkthrough wasn't even that clear as to where the loot was because it still took us a while to find it. We finally headed towards the Book of the Dead location. We made short work of the bandits and collected the item as well as completing the particular location objectives. Back in town, we learned that the old man had actually died because it took us so long to get the book back. So we go over to his body as it's being prepared for embalming and place the Book of the Dead with him. Next, we decide to complete the Lost and Found quest that Reda gave us, since that was also right near an undiscovered location. The location was a hippo lair and was easily cleared by killing the alpha hippo. Basically all these animal lairs are gonna be kill the alpha animal. Hippos also give out hard leather, so that's awesome. We notice that there is one final sync point in the region. We head up the road, clear the lakeside villa outpost, which was nice and easy, before also clearing the Anoya cave. When we're finally near the sync point, we notice a couple of bandits aggroed by something. So we took that opportunity to headshot them with arrows to easily deal with them. It wasn't until we started climbing that we realized that there's a wolf nearby, and that's what the bandits were aggroed on when we arrived. We clear the abandoned temple hideout, before finally making our way back to the temple to start the Ambush in the Temple side quest. Now that sounds like it's a traumatic epic quest, but it's actually better. We greet our old friend old mate Menahet, and he offers a tour of the temple he works at. Then this happens.
Ready to see our beautiful temple?
After you, Menahet. Or is it servant of the goddess?
Menahet will do for one as good as family.
This is far from the sorry ruin of my last visit.
Yamu now plays constant host to ceremonies showing our rustic way of life, which attract many visitors with more gold than sense.
A description well suited to Alexandrians. How does this sit with your faith?
I confess that my thoughts are sometimes uneasy.
Vanquished by a gang of ruffians, huh? Silent as gifts.
Uncle Bayek! Uncle Bayek! Hello, Uncle.
Jewels of my life, why have you left your mother's side?
Pick me up, Uncle Bayek!
See now, there's no need to attack a man from behind. We're not numbering him 4 to 1. Huh?
You taught us to secure every advantage possible over Attainer's 4.
Yes. And I am very dangerous! Hide well, for the wanderer stalks your path.
Just a lovely cutscene. We play a little bit of hide and seek with old mates, children, who get to all sorts of different places. And when we go back to old mate Menahet, we see that a Darren is complaining to him about a subpar product in the market. Menahet tries to explain to the Darren that it's not even his department, but Darren doesn't care. Since nobody likes Karens or Darrens, we decide to help old mate with the subpar product problem. We speak to a number of merchants who seem to be scared and unwilling to talk before one tells us to come to a farm nearby at night for information. This is where the dusk and dawn skill is really useful, so that we don't have to wait for the day and night cycle to slowly change the time of day. My first playthrough, I hadn't unlocked this skill at this point, and didn't have an ability point to spare, so I was forced to wait. It was really boring. When we arrive at the farm to speak to the merchant, it turned out to be an obvious trap that we definitely survived through. The merchant gives up and tells us the location of the bandits that are in charge of the scam, so we head over to deal with them and destroy the crap product they stockpiled.
Menahet will rest easy, now that this is done.
When we get back to the temple to tell old mate Menahet of a job well done, he asks us for another favor. Part of the economy in Yamu is a show fight between 2 actors. One as the goddess Sekhmet's champion, the main god that the people worship in the town, and one dressed as Isfet's champ, Sekhmet's main enemy. Unfortunately, Pamu, the one who's supposed to play Sekhmet's champion, cannot be found anywhere. We find out that Pamu's a bit of a drunk, so we head over to the tavern to see if we can find where he is. Finding Pamu passed out drunk at the tavern, we carry him back to the temple to old mate Menahet. Old mate Menahet is panicking, since there is no way to get Pamu ready in time for the show fight, so we volunteered to replace him as the champion for tonight's show. Old mate Menahet is ecstatic, and tells us to go to the head priest who would help us prepare. That night, we get all dressed up as Sekhmet's champion, and we have a one-on-one fight with Isfet's champion. The fight is pretty straightforward, but since we didn't read the instructions to parry properly when we unlocked a skill, we end up either getting hit by Isfet's champion or simply just blocking. It's really embarrassing. It's fascinating to hear the epic tale of Sekhmet versus Isfet in the background, because after we undoubtedly win the fight, our old mate Menahet tells us that it was all made up by the head priest so that the tourists are hyped.
Was new to me.
It is a tale of his own invention. You will not hear it outside Yamu.
We get the mask and staff of the goddess as payment from old mate Menahet though, as we say goodbye to him. When we check the map, we find that one final side quest has been unlocked now, called Birthright, and we go to start it after seeing 3 bodies left out in the public near the embalmer's place. We talk to the embalmer and ask what happened to the bodies, and he tells us the tragic story of a family that was killed by soldiers. All but one member died, and that last member just brought the 3 bodies over to the embalmers one by one. We head over to the farm where the family lived after finding out that the last one is alive, named Iras. You'll recognize that this is the same farm that was the location of the papyrus treasure that we found earlier, but this time there are Greek soldiers looking for Iras to capture, or worse, kill her. We get rid of the soldiers we can find, and we chat with her. She tells us that her family owned the land for centuries, But then one day soldiers came saying that their master was the rightful owner of the land and ordered them to hand it all over. Her father refused, and the soldiers killed the whole family except for her. She is determined to work the farm till she dies, as it is her birthright. We offer her our help, assuring her that the soldiers won't come back to kill her. And she tells us that the master lives at a villa up north nearby on the road to Alexandria. This is the same villa outpost that we cleared earlier, and we attempt to sneak through the camp. Only problem was we missed a soldier when we were tagging them and had to just murder the whole lot in a bloody mess. After dispatching the soldiers, we find a letter that reveals that the master that wanted the land is named Sophronius, and that he's hanging around Alexandria. Good. We finished clearing the region anyway, so it's about time we head to Alexandria. So we head over to the quest objective. Along the way, we see another Ptolemy statue, the prick. So we decide to destroy that just as soldiers rode up the road next to us. Luckily, they didn't think that we were the delinquent they were looking for, even though we literally sheathed our weapons right in front of them. When we get to Alexandria, the XP we get for discovering the city is just enough for us to level up to level 13. And we mark Sophronius, who has a posse of 3 soldiers with him. We quickly head over to the market they were currently terrorizing, kill Sophronius with a well-placed arrow to the head, and deal with the bodyguards since we need to confirm the kill up close. And that is it for now. Some quick stats before I go. The first draft of this script was over 13 pages long, with nearly 8,000 words. So there will be a lot to cut out. The original VOD as well was nearly 4.5 hours long. I realize now, watching the footage back, that I go to do one thing, then change my mind right after. For example, I marked to solve the papyrus from Yamu, but then I decide to go the opposite way to start side quests, which just throws the flow of the script around and makes it harder than it should be. So in the future, especially with open world games, I think I'm gonna have to focus on one objective at a time. Like I said earlier, this is a brand new type of content for me. I will still be uploading edited VODs of streams, but sometimes I just want to play a game just for myself. So I'll probably use this type of video for those games. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, please give the video a like, a comment, and subscribe. I'm currently writing a web novel that's up on multiple platforms. The links will be in the description. I have a Patreon for my writing if you're interested in supporting me that way. And I try to stream as much as my work shifts permit. So until I see you next time, stay safe, stay healthy.